How have you been since we saw each other last?
Pretty good.
Good.
Pretty good. How about you?
Good. Everything's going pretty well.
Awesome.
Heard you had some twins.
Yeah, they're a handful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's see what we can do to help those twins out today. I just want to kind of start things off. This is kind of a new opportunity for both of us. I think, from looking at the numbers and everything, it's pretty clear that I know I might have to take a loss. Maybe you might have to take a loss, but maybe if that from our position right now, but with where we can go with this potentially, I think taking a step back for future growth might be a good opportunity for both of us. So I hope that that might work out. Do you have anything you want to start off with, or do you have any ideas about what you're looking for?
I know you were mentioning that we would have to take a step back, and I have realized that may be a possibility too. But I've also, in looking over it and stuff, I really feel that this can really grow your business, and I feel like we can make a lot of money out of this. Because before you were having to basically refer your clients to someone else to do litigation, and now you're going to get all that money in billable hours because it's in-house litigation. And also, I can potentially bring in a lot of money just through the billable hours of the XYZ Corporation. So even though we may have to take a pay cut for just a few months, I don't see this being us having to suffer for very long with the pay cuts. So,
do you know what you mentioned the billable hours for XYZ? So, do you have a figure for that?
Currently, the billable hours that I've been doing with XYZ, it brings in $150,000 annually.
That's all of their litigation, right?
Yes.
That you're working on. That's not what that's not the work I was
working on.
Okay. That's not the work I give.
That's what
them.
I would bring to it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so you would be willing to work, that's 1,900 hours, I think it is.
Yeah.
So you'd be willing to put those same kind of hours in?
Absolutely. Not only would I be, working hard with that company and bringing that in, I'm more than willing to do all administrative work of running a partnership if we choose that route, and also bringing up your technology systems up to date, because I'm well capable of doing that, and that's something that I would like to pursue here as well.
Okay. So, I understand you are interested in pursuing a partnership, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And do you have any thoughts about coming in without pursuing a partnership first, and revisiting that down the road, or?
I mean, it's something that I really, it's one of my biggest interests right now. Because again, where I'm at, they're not going to push me out the door because I do work so hard and cater to such a big company. So, I mean, if I were to move somewhere, I want a surety that I'm going to be a partner.
Okay. Are there any activities that are responsibilities that you just do not want to be a part of with a partnership at our firm?
I mean, obviously, I'm not good at in the past I haven't been good at bringing clients in initially. But I feel like if I were able to work more with technology-based companies instead of investors or bankers, that would work better. So maybe if we are having to deal with investor banker type people, that maybe that would be best for you or someone else to do instead of me, because I just haven't had a good track record of dealing with those kind of people.
Okay. So this is where I'm at. I need a litigation attorney. Obviously, you know, I feel like I've had to give off about $75,000 worth of litigation business from not doing that myself. I want to be able to spend the time, you know, meeting new clients, gaining new business, bringing in and developing the firm. So that's what I want, you know, my interest to be more focused towards, and not everyday activities at the office. So I am interested in having someone take over the administration, technical aspect of the office. What I see happening, so I can give you some ideas about what I see. I expect if I was to bring in a litigation attorney that I would be able to bring in about $175,000 more. Now, that would be my corporate practice, which I'm doing right now, would be about $350,000. So, you know, bringing in $175,000 if I was able to bring in an attorney to do the litigation. That's it. So, expected gross income for that year would be about $500,000. So that being said, you know, there are significant expenses with bringing in another attorney. Office, I don't have a big enough office space right now, so we would have to take on the other space and renovate. There's all the extra expenses in a partnership. And I'm looking at expected expenses being around $285,000, and that would mean that even with a litigation attorney, the expected profit after expenses would be about $215,000. So that's the part I was talking about with, you know, losing kind of money at first, because taking on a new attorney would definitely cost a lot. Now what I have is I have $45,000 worth of office stuff already. I have an operating account that already has money set up for us to just start working right away. Already have the lease. So with all that, I'm thinking that, you know, the first kind of ideas I was thinking about was a 25-75. If you're definitely set on having the partnership, then maybe we could start out like a 25-75 split of the profits. So, and that would also mean a $10,000 capital expenditure. So you put $10,000 up front, you would pay 25% of the expenses. So that would be, if we made $500,000 this year, that would be you making 25% of that would be $125,000. Then your $10,000 capital expenditure to sign on as a partner, and then 25% of your expenses for that would be $71,000. That would make you profiting this year probably about $53,750. I obviously see that's considerably lower than what you're making at the firm now.
Yes.
The thing is, I see potential for this after the first year to just keep going up. You know, like after the first year, we should be making well over $175,000 for litigation expenses. So we should be, you know, getting up in the 500,000s eventually. Now this would be, you know, that would be you not bringing any new business in, taking on admin duties and the tech duties, and then we can renegotiate after a year if you bring in more business or bill. I'm predicting only about $900 hours worth of work that you'll have to do this first year. Even with the admin and the tech duty. So that's like considerably less amount of work than you're having to do right now. So what do you think about that first kind of starting off point?
And again, I realize that we'll have to take pay cuts. My biggest concern, honestly, is the capital that I'll have to put forward, because as we mentioned in the beginning, I just had twins, so that's a lot bigger expense, which means I've had to move houses because of them, which was a lot more than I expected. So to put $10,000 up right now is just something that I do not have, period. But that being said, I think we could work on maybe just like a slightly lower guaranteed compensation, and then if we make more than expected, I get a percentage of that.
Okay, so what guaranteed compensation were you thinking? Because that figure was solely based on percentages, so there's no guarantee on those.
Okay. Well,
that's just if we make $500,000 this year total, with litigation, with corporate work too.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would, because I'm coming from a job that I'm getting like $100,000 a year. So if I could get, I would like to have 55,000
guaranteed.
Yes. And again, you said I would be working only 900 hours, but I feel with bringing XYZ in that we would be able to grow quicker than we expect as well, and I would be able to work more hours than that.
Okay. I don't know. I guess I'm worried about the guaranteed compensation thing. I'm worried because it's kind of a new venture, and if we're going to have a partnership, then I would want somebody who is willing to take the risk with me, I guess. If I was going to do a guaranteed compensation, I would rather do just an associate position for the first year, and then after that first year, if you were able to work at least 900 billable hours and take over the admin and tech duties, or if you were able, to start bringing in, new business, maybe 25%, then we can move to a negotiation for a partnership. But for the guaranteed compensation, I could do that for a guarantee $55,000, but not for a partnership where the guaranteed compensation.
Okay.
I would still be making considerably less even with that than I am now. So I just don't want to put too much risk in a guaranteed compensation if,
right.
I'm putting out all the risk. If you were willing to take a percentage and take a little bit of risk with me, we could do like because right now, I mean, let's see, you could get, the 25% would be $53,750, which is a little bit lower than what you're guaranteed you want.
Okay.
Would you be interested in doing an associate if you had a guaranteed salary, and then revisiting it after a year? Is that even an option?
I mean, if it's more than likely that I'm going to make partner after that 1 year, then I would consider it.
Okay. Well, that's the other thing too. If I feel like maybe the associate for 1 year might be a better fit, because if something happens and you don't think this is what you want to do after that year or anything like that, then we don't have to worry about dissolving the partnership and everything that goes along with that as well. You're not responsible for the lease. You're not responsible for the bills. You can just be like, well, that didn't work, and move on, and we both can. And then I'm still losing money, but I wouldn't be losing money and have all the risk associated with that too. So, but I don't want it to make it sound like I'm the one losing out here, because I understand that you're valuable, and I want you, on our firm, and definitely future partnership, if everything works out, is my goal. I would love to have you as a partner. I guess just the risk associated with, especially with that first year, and us not knowing how the business is going to grow. But I guess that's my concern. So honestly, I would be willing to offer. I could do $60,000 in a guaranteed job or guaranteed salary for the first year, as long as you were able to do at least 900 billable hours, which is what I'm estimating. So, and you're used to working way more than that. As long as you were able to do 900 billable hours and take over the admin and the tech duties, or in the alternative, and you were able to bring in 25% new business along with that, either one of those scenarios, then I would be willing to renegotiate a partnership in a year.
Okay. If I were to take on the guaranteed compensation now,
Mm-hmm.
and I do work way more than the 900 hours that you're expecting, after those 900 hours, what would that look like?
Do you have any ideas about how you would want to be paid for after that 900? If you're,
Well, I mean, because with all of the clients that you have, and all of the billable hours that I can be working on with XYZ, I just feel like that's automatically going to be more than 900 hours that I would be working on, especially since we have so many months to the rest of this year. So after the 900, if I just got like a certain percentage of all the hours that I'm working on, so whatever like litigation and whatever XYZ gives us. Because I just see us having way more than 900 hours of litigation work.
I think maybe let's add that up, real. So if you're thinking 1900, if you think you're going to get to 1900,
Maybe not 1900, but I would think like at least 1500.
1500. Okay, well, let's see what that would be.
I just think 1,000 less than what I'm used to is underestimating what the business that we'll be getting.
Yeah. 10%, you think? 10% of, after you reach 900 hours, then 10% of anything above that?
Yeah.
And then after a year we would, and that's just an associate position. But that, well, the thing about the billable hours, I would kind of like either I don't know, maybe a guarantee of, I'm just having to put a lot out front for the cost of, expanding the office and stuff like that. So if I have to give you that guaranteed salary, and then on top of that 10% over the billable hours, I would want, maybe if we can include that you'll be willing to pay back some of those expenses when you become a partner the next year, or like if you sign on to be a partner, then all those expenses that I fronted to the business, that we could do like a loan, no interest loan for those expenses, and then once you became a partner, then you start paying whatever your percentage is once we negotiate your partnership. That percentage of the expenses for starting this partnership, you would pay back on zero interest. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So you're guaranteed $60,000 a year. After 900 hours, you start making 10% of your billable hours.
Yeah.
If at that time, at the end of the year, you decide to come on as a partner, whatever the percentage is for that partnership, like if it started out at 25%, then whatever that percentage is, that's how much of the expenses you would also be liable for. So you'd be also liable for 25% of the expenses that the $285 is what I'm expecting. 25% of $285,000 in expenses. It's not something you have to pay out of pocket right away. It would be a loan towards the partnership that you would be paying back out of your, like, the next year or however long it took. Okay?
I think I could do that. Would it like be kind of just, you would just take that out of my hours? Or like that?
Yeah, because then at that point you would become, you wouldn't get the guaranteed salary anymore. It would be your percentage of our gross sales or income. And then that would just, like, every month, 25% of whatever the expenses were, or like that.
I think.
Is there anything else? Need to.
I don't think so. If we're able to work that out. I mean, if I have to, if this is kind of like a loan situation, I feel like there's even more of a likelihood that I would make partner in that year, the next year. So I kind of feel like, there's a security there.
Okay. And this will kind of free you up to, like, the first year, you don't really have to, like, worry about trying to go out and get business. Like I said, if you're able to bill over $900 an hour or 900 hours and do the admin and the tech duties, or bring in 25% more business, then we would be able to discuss the partnership.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then if something happens and we don't move forward with the partnership, then, obviously I would be able to keep all my current client base. There would be no, you'd be free to go any other position, look for another position if you like or anything, but all the current client base that I have before you come in, then those would stay with me.
Right. But if that were to happen, I would be free to take the litigation of XYZ wherever I go as well, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Sounds like a deal. Okay. Thank you.